Wondering if you can grow bananas in a small garden?
Oh my gosh, this is a really good one.
Why, the answer is yes, but it does come with
sweet.
challenges.
Wow.
In this video, I'll share my experience, what worked for me, the choices I made, some might even seem risky to others, and what you should know if you want to grow your own. Let's get started! Here's the bananas growing in a small raised bed, which I recently harvested. I even tried eating them with the skin on. Here's the bananas grown in a large container on the more shade side of the garden. These were the first bananas harvested ever from this container. Then recently I posted on Instagram that one of the pups is fruiting. And you ask, how can my bananas grow so quickly? Well, just keep on watching. Let me show you how bananas are grown. This was the original one that I planted. It started off being about maybe 2.5 feet tall, about roughly 2 years ago. And I planted around fall. And because bananas are tropical plants, they barely grow, or if not, they just kind of take a break in the winter here. So that means since I planted in the fall, it really had slowed down its growth that first like 5 or 6 months until the roots really established. When the warm weather kicked in, then it started growing. So it really didn't start growing like crazy since after like a year that I planted. This is in a raised bed. This is a raised bed that's attached to the ground, so it's really got plenty of room to grow. But let me just show you the way that bananas grow. Here's the original that I planted. It's got the thickest trunk of all, obviously, and it does have a flower shoot right up there, so there's some like really young bananas developing up there. So exciting. And then it'll start giving off these shoots. They're called pups, and you can see from the very bottom, this is how invasive bananas can get. Okay, so the original one shot up all these within, I think I want to say, a year. These pots were left behind. I don't know, they were somehow hidden from me, so it ended up just kind of pushing and cracking this pot. And then this one, check this one out. This one's even crazier. This one popped up, I think, sometime within the same year and pushed this pot next to it up like this. It's so crazy. Especially the one in the back right there against the wall. Right here, yeah. I got a few varieties of bananas here, but only 2 are planted in like a large space. One in the big pot and the other side, and then this one in this like in-ground raised bed. Here's that big no-no that people say not to do, and I did it. For those of you who have grown bananas are probably going to tell me in the comments that this is a really bad idea because it's gonna break the wall. And you're probably right. It's just that I was going by a few reasons of mine. One being that I've planted this in a previous place the same way, and it didn't damage the walls. It just forced the bananas to grow along as a border. And the second reason is that I don't have room here, guys. There's not a whole lot of options for me. So I was thinking that as long as I'm good at pruning, I can just keep 1 to 2 here, and then the rest, if any younger ones come out, I would just like chop it, dig it up. It wouldn't be an issue. Also, this is just a nice sunny area, so if the plants get tall enough, it would kind of create a little bit of a nice like bright shade or like indirect sunlight for a lot of the plants. So anyway, if you were to plant it like me against like a tight space, against a wall or something, make sure you do go in and like chop up and dig up those pups so that it wouldn't cause any issues in the ground or on your walls, because the other one on the other side is crazy, right? It just totally broke the wine barrel that it's growing in. But the thing that's really cool is that upstairs you can actually see the banana stalk right now. It's so much fun. Like, I was actually thinking I shouldn't be growing so many varieties of bananas in such a small space. Man, but every time I see these flowers come out, and they're huge and gorgeous and they attract bees, and then when it's time to harvest, it's just a load of fun. So I think I'll just try to really maintain them, because the older the bananas are, really the faster they give out these pups and the faster the pups grow. Yeah, it's crazy. Just make sure you keep them under control. Yeah, so this is what I mean. The older they are, the faster the pups will grow. Now let's go back to answering the question, why my bananas seem to grow so fast. This is the first banana flower that ever produced. It grew out of the mother plant, aka original plant. See how many fruits are on here? And now, let me show you a new flower that opened earlier this year. This flower came from one of the pups, aka suckers. Look at the flower, it's so much bigger, and look at these baby bananas. This definitely has a lot of potential for a super heavy rack of bananas. And this is because the mother plant already did the hard work of growing and producing the root systems to help establish the plants so the pups can get all the nutrients and water they need right away. This would help the pups grow faster and producing flowers quicker, bigger, and more abundant fruits. The reasons why people grow banana plants separately is because once the pups start shooting out, it would slow down the growth or the development of the banana flowers. That's why when you see the pups, it's recommended that you chop it out or you just remove it and plant it somewhere else. So you just want to plant bananas, separately rather than in groups like here. This is a group of bananas right here. That's a big no-no, but I've always done it that way because I'm kind of lazy to dig it up. And believe me, you really don't want to be lazy, okay? Don't be like me. Whenever there's pups, when they're little, they really are much easier to remove. When they get to this size, this is going to be a show when I start to hack this down. It's a lot more work than it could have been. Something interesting that I learned from you guys recently is that one of you told me that the reason why bananas would take long ripening is really depending on the season that the flowers start to bloom. When they bloom in the winter, it takes a lot longer for the fruits to grow, develop, and to ripen. But if you get the flowers in the warmer season, they would ripen a lot faster, which makes a lot of sense when I think about how I used to grow bananas and why some takes like almost 2 years to develop, which is that first one I recently hacked. That one is actually the first bananas that I got in this space. That one opened in December last year and it took about 8 months to ripen, which is quite fast for me because it's grown mostly in the shade in a pot compared to another variety that I've grown in the past, but also in a different location. The longest it took for the fruits to be ready was like almost 2 years or a year and a half. Bananas, when they're young, usually the first flower stalk would not produce that many fruits. It's kind of like the practice round, same as a lot of fruits out there. The difference between bananas compared to other fruits is that it only gives out fruits once in a plant's lifetime. That's why when you harvest the bananas, you would chop down the plant. You can either compost it or use it as mulch. It's really great to use as mulch. Those really large flat leaves are great for shading. And the trunk itself is loaded with water. The water tastes absolutely terrible and very astringent. I don't recommend you trying it. However, it is really great for composting. That is all the information I have for you right now on how to grow bananas in a small space. I hope it's been helpful for you. Now, if you're already growing bananas, share your best tips with us in the comments. And if you're growing fruits in small space, I would love to know what your biggest struggles are. Also, I'll be growing another variety that I'm so excited about. Can't wait to give you more updates on that soon. For more gardening tips on how to grow rare vegetables, be sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!